At 94 years old, I did something that shocked my entire family. I stopped answering the phone on Sundays. No explanations, no apologies, no guilt. My daughter thought I was angry at her. My son thought I was losing my mind. But the truth was something none of them expected, and when I finally told them why, two of them sat down and cried, but not for the reason you might think. Stay right here, because what I learned across 94 years about people, silence, and peace might be the most honest thing anyone has ever said to you about this stage of life. My name is Dorothy Harmon, but everyone who's ever loved me calls me Dot. I'm 94 years old, and I spent 40 years as a registered nurse in a small community hospital in rural Kentucky. 40 years of holding other people's hands through their worst moments. 40 years of being the calm in somebody else's storm. I was the nurse who stayed late, who remembered every patient's birthday, who drove colleagues home when their shifts ran too long. I was everybody's rock. And for a long time, I told myself that was who I was, that giving was my purpose, that being needed was the same as being loved. It took me until my late 80s to understand just how wrong I had been. I'm going to share 6 truths today that took me most of my life to finally see clearly. I want you to hear them not as advice from a wise old woman on a screen, but as honest confessions from a woman who got it deeply wrong for a very long time before she got it right. And truth number 6, that one I almost didn't include today because it still catches in my throat when I say it out loud. But you need to hear it, every word of it. Truth number 1. The people who drain you the most are almost always the ones you love the most. I know that lands hard. It landed hard for me too, sitting with it the first time. For most of my life, I confused love with availability. I thought loving someone meant always picking up the call, always showing up with a casserole, always saying yes, even when my whole body was exhausted and begging me to stop. My husband used to look at me across the dinner table and say, "Dot, you give your best self to strangers all day and you come home hollow." And Lord, he was right. The people who mattered most to me, my husband, my children, my dearest friends, they got whoever was left after I had already poured myself out completely for everyone else. I carried that guilt for years, but I'm telling you this now because I know I am not the only woman in this world who did exactly the same thing. Comment below if you've ever felt that way, like the people who need you most get the least of what you actually have. Because that feeling doesn't heal on its own. It has to be looked at directly. I didn't look at it directly until much later than I should have, and what happened next shook me in ways I wasn't prepared for. Truth number 2, silence is not the same as distance, but most people will treat it that way, especially the ones who were used to taking from you. When I started pulling back in my late 80s, when I stopped volunteering for every church committee, stopped returning every call within the hour, stopped making myself endlessly available to anyone who knocked, people got uncomfortable fast. Some got offended. A few acted genuinely wounded. And here is what I noticed very clearly. The people who reacted with the most anger to my silence were almost never the ones who had truly been there for me. They were the ones accustomed to my yes. the ones who had relied on my availability for years and had never once sat down and asked how Dot was actually doing underneath all that giving. Silence is a filter, and once I understood that, the guilt I had been carrying started loosening its grip on me. If someone cannot handle a few days of quiet from you, that tells you something real and important about what they were actually getting from the relationship. But silence also taught me something I hadn't expected, something that connects directly to truth number 3, which surprised me more than almost anything else on this list. Truth number 3: solitude is a skill nobody ever teaches women, especially women of our generation. I grew up being told that a quiet woman was a sad woman, that a full house was a blessed house, that the measure of a good life was how many people needed you around. So when my husband passed and the house went still, I panicked the way only someone who has never learned to be alone can panic. I filled every hour with noise and motion and purpose. Television in the mornings, grandchildren in the afternoons, phone calls stretched into the evenings, anything to avoid sitting alone inside my own head. What I was truly afraid of, I understand now, was that if I stopped moving and filling the silence, I would have to face myself, all of it, the regrets, the moments I rushed through, the words I swallowed and the ones I delivered too sharply. But here is what I found when I finally stopped running from the quiet. The silence wasn't empty at all. It was full of things I had never once made time to notice. My own thoughts, my own voice, separate from everyone else's needs. The particular sound a morning makes when nobody is asking anything from you. Solitude didn't make me lonelier. It made me more honest with myself than I had ever been. And that honesty became the foundation of everything good that came to me in these final years. But that same honesty also cost me something I wasn't fully prepared to give up, and that's where truth number 4 gets uncomfortable in the best possible way. Truth number 4: most of the relationships you're still holding on to are already over. You are simply the only one still carrying them. I had a friendship of more than 35 years with a woman I had nursed alongside, traveled with, shared my deepest fears with over cold coffee in hospital break rooms. But somewhere in my late 70s, I started noticing a pattern. The calls came when she needed reassurance. The visits happened when her life was in crisis. I was always the steady one, always the available one, always the one who showed up. And I kept showing up because of history, because 35 years feels like it has to mean something permanent. And it did. It truly did once. But here is the question that finally changed everything for me. I sat down one afternoon and asked myself honestly, if we had met today at this age with the women we both are right now, would we choose each other? The answer that came back was quiet and clear: no. That question has a way of cutting through decades of loyalty and obligation very fast. I'm not telling you to walk away from everyone. I'm telling you to stop lying to yourself about what certain relationships actually are today, not what they were, not what you hope they might become again someday. What are they right now? Be honest with yourself about that, because the energy you spend maintaining something that has already ended is energy stolen directly from what is still living and still worth your time. And speaking of what is still worth your time, truth number 5 is the one most women my age are afraid to say out loud, but I have lived too long to stay quiet about things that matter. Truth number 5: You need far fewer people than you were taught to believe, and that is not a failure. It is freedom. At 94, the people I would genuinely drop everything for fit comfortably around my kitchen table. There are 4 of them. After 9 decades of living, of nursing hundreds of patients, of being a mother, a wife, a neighbor, a friend, a community member who showed up for everything, 4 people. And I want to tell you something true about those 4. Those relationships are more honest, more tender, and more joyful than anything I had during the years when I was surrounded by dozens. We were raised to measure our worth by how many people needed us, how full our calendars were, how many birthday cards we sent out every year. But the real measure, the one I wish someone had told me at 40, is how many people would sit in complete silence with you on your very worst day, asking nothing, needing nothing, just there. That is the number that changes everything. Comment below right now. How many people in your life could you call at 2 in the morning, no explanation, and they would simply show up? 1, 2, 0? There is no shame in any of those answers, but knowing the real number changes how carefully you spend what time you have left. And now, truth number 6, the one I almost kept to myself. Please stay with me for this one because it is the most personal thing I have shared today. Truth number 6, the person you were most unavailable to across all those decades of giving was yourself. I spent 94 years caring for other people, nursing them, comforting them, holding their hands, celebrating their recoveries, grieving their losses alongside them. I did all of it with genuine love. I want to be absolutely clear about that. But somewhere deep in the middle of all that giving, I stopped checking in with myself. Not my physical health, not my comfort levels, but my actual interior life. What did Dorothy Harmon want? What made Dorothy Harmon feel genuinely alive? What did Dorothy Harmon believe about herself when nobody was asking anything from her and she had no role to fill? I did not know. Standing in my own kitchen at 80 years old, I did not know the honest answer to those questions, and that was the most startling discovery of my entire long life. More startling than any loss I had carried, more startling than aging, more startling than any hardship the years had handed me. I had given myself away so completely and for so long that I had lost track of what had originally belonged to me. So when I stopped answering the phone on Sunday mornings, it had nothing to do with anger or withdrawal or giving up on the people I loved. It was the first morning of my life when I decided that this hour, this quiet cup of coffee at my kitchen window, this stillness watching the light come up over the backyard, belonged to me. Nobody else, just Dorothy. And it was the most peaceful morning I had felt in longer than I could remember. Proverbs 4:23 says it with a simplicity that still stops me cold every time. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. I wish with everything in me that I had truly understood those words at 40. I understand them now. This is Dorothy Harmon, 94 years old, speaking to you from a quiet Sunday morning in Kentucky. If something here today found its way into you, I hope you'll sit with it a while before you move on. Drop a comment and tell me which truth hit you the hardest. Share this with a woman over 60 who is still trying to be everything to everyone and forgetting to save anything for herself. And please subscribe, because next time I'm sharing the 8 signs that you finally found real peace after 60, and most people get every single one of them completely wrong. Take good care of yourselves out there,